Hello everyone, this is your math professor Amy Hohers. This video is to help you get started in the ALEKS online homework system. We're going to start in D2L and then link into ALEKS, which is the homework system, and I'll show you just the basics of how to get around. When you're in your class, and your class may be different, I'm recording this during the summer of 2023, and of course things are going to change. But when you're in your class, you should have a module that says something like ALEKS Online Homework. Within that, then you will find the ALEKS link. And when you click that link, that will take you directly into the ALEKS homework. You will have a code that will get you 2 weeks free access. Your code will be different. This is specifically my code for the summer 2023 class, but you will have your own code unless you are in Math 0242, and then your access is free. But for Math 1342 or any other class, you'll have a 2-week free access, and then after that you'll have to pay for the rest of the semester. So we're going to link using this where it says ALEKS link, and the first time you use that link, it will ask you to register in ALEKS. If you've used ALEKS with another class, you can use the same registration, but I don't have any way to fool the computer into thinking I don't have a registration. So it's taken me straight into the ALEKS class, and when you first get to the class, it's going to pop up this little screen that's going to explain ALEKS a little bit. You can just close it if you want to, but it just gives a little explanation of ALEKS. And then when we come here, again, it will tell you that your main menu is over here and where the notifications are and where to look to find out what to do next. So if we click Get Started, it will take us through a tools tutorial, which I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it'll take you through the tutorial, which will show you how to enter things. So for instance here it says if you want to enter 14, try that. It says you've done it correctly, and it'll take you through several things like that. Once you're done with the tutorial, give you a little congratulations. And then it will take you to the initial knowledge check. Now, the initial knowledge check is not very long, and it really doesn't impact the rest of the class. It's just kind of a getting started for this class. Some classes use it as a basis for the entire class, and all you do is you follow your ALEKS pathway. We aren't going to do that in this class. We're going to have just assignments that are due on specific dates, but again, I cannot take out the initial knowledge check. And so what you'll do is you'll start that initial knowledge check, and it'll take you through some things to kind of get you ramped up for learning statistics. But don't be stressed about it or take a lot of time on it, because it really doesn't affect your grade in this class. So we're going to start the initial knowledge check, and it'll ask you some things about graphs and such. So for instance, for this question, it asks, estimate the number of Model B printers produced at the plant. So Model B is the green hashed. At the mill plant, that would be this bar right here. I'm going to estimate that's about, it doesn't look like it's quite halfway, so I'm going to estimate 440. Which plants produce more Model B than Model A? So I'm going to look for the ones that have the higher green bar. That looks like Oakville and Mill. And then which plant produced the fewest printers total? It looks to me that that would be Hillview rather. So I submit that, and then it goes on the next question. For this particular thing, it won't tell you if you were correct or not, but when you're doing your regular homework, it'll tell you whether you're correct or not. So I'm going to go ahead and just skip the rest of the initial knowledge check. And after you're done with your initial knowledge check, it'll tell you how much you've mastered, basically how you did on that initial knowledge check. But again, we won't ever really have to come back to this. So now that you've done that, now you may need to click a few buttons to get the computer past this initial knowledge check part, But when you see that you can click on Start My Path and you can click on this drop-down box up here, you know you've done what you need to do. So for the remainder of the class, where you're going to go to find your assignments is up here in this drop-down box, and you're going to go to Assignments. And you'll see that each assignment is listed, and it shows the date that it's due, and it shows how many attempts you have left. So you have 5 attempts on each assignment, and so because this hasn't been worked on, it shows for every assignment 5 of 5. I do want to mention that I do have a completing your pie as an extra credit. So you can complete it if you want to, but you don't have to. So if we go to, say, I'm going to go ahead and start with section 3.1 because I think it's a good section for demonstration. So it will start with the first time you come in. It'll kind of explain things to you. It'll tell you that you navigate from one problem to another by selecting the numbered problems, and then you can use the submit button when you're ready to turn it in, and then you're ready to start the assignment. Now I want to tell you, if you've used homework assignments online before where if you forget to submit it loses all your work, ALEKS is not like that. If you don't hit the submit button or you don't hit the save for later button and you just back out of it, it doesn't lose all your work. So you can go away and come back to the homework assignments. Also, when you're working on the homework, if you miss one problem, you just have to go back and fix that problem. You don't have to do every single problem in the assignment over. So it's like working problems out of a book. If you were doing your homework out of the problems at the end of a section in the book, you'd work the problem, check your answer in the back, and if it was wrong, you'd fix that problem. You wouldn't have to start all the way over at number 1. So it's truly like just doing regular homework. It's not a quiz or a test or anything. So for this, it says we're talking about the mean. So it asks you to stack. It says move the cubes so that each stack has the same number of cubes. So it gives you a chance to move them so that you have them all the same. And it says give the number of cubes in each stack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 it looks like. And so then it asks, we started with 10, 7, 9, and 6, so what would be the average of those? So it's kind of an explanation of what the mean means, what the average is. And then it says, are the values you found the same? And then you select. So once you've selected your answers, and I'm intentionally making a mistake on this, and in this case it'll tell me that I have it partially correct. So if I go to the top here, it says your answer is incorrect. Your answer to part C is not correct. So if I go down here, I know that A and B are okay, but C needs to be fixed. So the answer should have been yes. When we make the stacks equal, the number of cubes in each stack must be the mean of the original stacks. And we recheck it, and you're correct. So when you're doing your homework, you have 5 attempts, but on each attempt, you have 3 tries. So you honestly have like 15 attempts at each problem. Again, it's homework. I would not recommend that you just guess. Your best use of time is to actually work the problems carefully, and so that you're understanding them and that you know how you're getting the answers. But you have a chance to redo the problems. But if you make 3 guesses and they're incorrect, it will refresh the problem and give you new numbers, and you'll have to completely rework the problem rather than continuing to work with the same numbers in the same question. And then once you're done with that, you can click on the next one, or you can hit the button. There's various different ways, but you can travel around and you don't have to work the problems in order. So if you look at a problem and you're kind of stuck on it, you can skip ahead to the next problem. So if you look at number 2 and you say, gosh, I really don't know how to do that, let me go and look at number 3. So in this case, I don't want to submit the assignment because I'm not done with it. So what I would do is either back out of it or click save for later. They should do the same thing. And then you can go back to your assignments list. So here's your assignments. It'll tell you that one's in progress. And you still have 5 of 5 remaining because you haven't submitted an assignment. So you submit it, it will take one of those away. When you submit it or complete it, it'll take one of those remaining, but you can always go back and work on problems. Now I do want to point out some of the things that you can find within the homework that are helpful. So as you're looking at a homework problem, there's what's called tools help. This is kind of like how do you do manipulation part of the problem if there is some. So in this case, it'll explain to you how to move the cubes if you're confused by that. You can do an explanation. but it'll take away one of your attempts if you do that, because it's just giving you the answer. Let's go to one that we haven't done yet. So if we go here and we try to do an explanation, it tells you if you do this, you will lose your current question attempt. Now, if you go to an example, you don't lose an attempt. So this is a sample question. It gives you something that's similar to the question that you're working on, but not exactly like it. So you don't lose an attempt when you do that. But if you do the actual explanation, it will take away one of your attempts. So we go back to question 3. Now it says that you've missed it once. The other thing that we have is we have the ebook you can link to. So you can, this is the complete textbook is here within ALEKS. And so you could open this up. We know we're in chapter 3. We know we're in 3.1 and we're trying to figure out problems about the mean. So if we go to that page, it'll take us straight to section 3.1. You can enlarge this so it's easier to read. And you have the entire textbook here. It will even read it aloud to you. It's helpful to you to read and listen at the same time. So you can click on here and ask it to read it to you.
3-to-1 measures of central tendency using measures.
And then lastly, the final thing that you can use is you can do a message to myself. If you send me a message and tell me that you need help on this problem, it'll tell me what problem that we're working on. And you don't have to worry about my email or anything. It has my email saved. It knows where to send it to. And you can just say, help on a problem. And then maybe a little bit of information. I'm not sure what the problem is asking. I don't know whether to look at these numbers or that number. It's just a little bit of an explanation of why you're having difficulty on the problem, and then you can send that to me. But remember, that's going to me, and that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get immediately back to you. If it's at night or a class, I promise that on a pretty regular basis I'll be able to get back to you within 24 hours. But I would use those other resources first, like the example, the ebook, to try to figure the problem out, because that'll be a lot faster. But you're welcome to send me a question in the message center anytime you want. Okay, well, hopefully this is enough of an explanation for what you need to do in ALEKS to do your homework. Again, remember, once you get past that initial knowledge check, you don't have to go and do the ALEKS Pi anymore. It always will pop up here at the beginning, and it'll have this start my path, but remember, that's not really what you're being graded on. If you want to do it, finish it up for the extra credit, you can, but what you need to do is watch the videos that are in D2L, come here to your assignments, and complete the assignment by the due dates. There is a calendar you can access, but I can tell you, I find the calendar kind of confusing the way it's set up. I wouldn't recommend using it. I would recommend going to your assignments and looking at the due dates here. Whatever the due dates are here, and the due dates for your class will be different other classes. There also is a grade book, and it'll tell you what your overall grade is and what grade you've gotten on each homework assignment. Of course, there's no homework assignments right now completed at all, so nothing is really showing. And then if you would like to access the textbook and you're not with an assignment, you can do that here. Don't be afraid to click on things or look at things in ALEKS. There's not really anything you can hurt, but the main places that you need to be would be your grade book and your assignments once you get past the initial knowledge check. So hopefully that's enough to get you started, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and I hope that you have a fantastic semester.